My name is Curtis Jones. I'm currently a new and used car sales manager at Power Ford here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I've been working in the automotive industry for going on 17 years, and I have done pretty much every position, starting off as just a salesperson to slash lot rodeo, move cars around, wash cars, that side of things, and then all the way up into internet sales, full-time managerial positions with desk managing, finance. So pretty much everything on the sales side of things, I've had some dealings with. I've also worked for two different types of companies, one that was locally owned that had a single owner versus working at a facility like I am at now, which still has a principal that is at our facility, but it is also technically a larger company that has shareholders. So understanding what individual companies may want if they're locally owned versus national companies that have investors that they're trying to make sure that they're achieving a high level of success on their day-to-day operations. Um, I love working in the auto industry because it is a constantly changing animal in a lot of ways because you never know what the industry is doing. You've got different challenges that can come up at any moment between guests that are credit challenged, a nation right now where our economy is different, so it's causing interest rates to rise. So that changes your day-to-day process of how you may engage with guests, along with just making sure that we can be the best that we can for any series of guests that come into our facility. So from hello, the people that greet them, to our process, how we make sure that guests feel engaged from the moment they arrive to the moment they leave. And knowing how people change, and in this last 17 years, how much change has happened, being able to grow and adapt to all of those changing things over time is very, very important. When we start considering new potential employees, there are several things that go into it, but I think first and foremost, whenever you consider a job, know a little bit about the job that you're applying for. And then when you come in for an interview, be ready for that interview. So when I say be ready for it, have a series of questions that you have for the person that is doing the interviewing. That way they know that you're prepared, you're engaged, and you're curious of what your long-term potential may be, your short-term potential. Um, most companies are always going to ask, what's your 3-year plan? What's your 5-year plan? And the reason it's important that we know that you may actually have a plan for 3, 5, 7 years is because that shows forethought into where you are now and where you want to be. Um, that's not to say that everyone has it figured out. They don't, and that's okay. But always making sure that you have a goal. That way you have something that you're driving and working towards. The other thing, whenever we start looking at potential new hires, is how you appear for the interview. Did you come in your best sweatpants from the night before when you were sleeping, or did you come in business attire? Did you come in a suit and tie? Did you not worry about shaving or making sure that you're looking your best, or did you come in 100% ready to go? That is very important because first impressions do really matter in today's society, probably more than ever. We judge in every aspect of our lives on a daily basis. You see someone's Instagram feed or their latest TikTok, and that is your perception of that person versus what might be reality. So, whenever we're judging people, good, bad, or indifferent, it is something that our society has become very accustomed to. So, knowing when you show up for an interview, you're going to have certain expectations to have yourself together in a sense. Um, so I think it's truly important to make very good first impressions. When we start talking about first impressions as well, I think it's very important also to have good eye contact when you initially engage with someone for the first time, knowing what a professional handshake is like. It's not aggressive where you're trying to squeeze someone's hand to death, but at the same time, it's not like a little, hi, how are you? you want to be respectful for any parties that may be in the hiring process at that facility. Um, Resumes are something that I find useful, but I always want to hear what you are above and beyond your resume. Resumes are something that can give us a glance of who you are, but really in the interview is where you get to shine, you get to expand upon your resume. Resumes shouldn't be more than 2 pages, pretty much in my opinion, ever. I think when they get too lengthy, they just become boring and unfortunately they're less engaging. Bullet points and being very concise. I actually like to tailor resumes to the individual position that I might be applying for. So knowing the position that you're trying to apply for, tailoring your resume where potentially your most value add components of yourself might want to be the first 2 and 3 lines. So if you're coming in for a sales position and you have done HVAC installations with your uncle on the weekends over the summer, if that's your only experience, by all means, hard work is hard work. But if you also had a job that might have been at the mall where you were selling retail, the retail position may be more valuable in that initial part of the resume than the summer job that was the most recent job that you had. So tailoring your skill sets towards the position that you're applying for can be very useful. And then again, having questions ready for whoever's doing the interviewing. Having that engagement with them so that they understand that we know who you are as a person, you're engaging, you're willing to think outside the box potentially. And that's something that I think in any industry right now is exceptionally difficult because we sometimes think a job is just X and that's the only thing that you do. But most companies want to see that you can do a ton more variety of goals and aspects. The reason we like people that had gone to school and had accelerated in school, whether it was high school or college, is when you're given curriculum, whether it's the exact field that you want to be studying, because everyone has classes that they don't love, but if you can still push through and do well in them, imagine how good you will be whenever it is with something that you actually care or are interested in. So being able to excel in things that are more monotonous and more mundane, but it shows that you can do the little things that are needed to be done on a daily basis. Um, I think red flags for resumes are occasionally there are people that jump around a lot. And when I say they jump around a lot, you may work at one place for 1 month, and then you go and work at a different place for another month, and then you go and work at a different place for another month. And then I'll see resumes that have um, every single place that you've worked on there, kind of special, like showing these are where you're at. If you worked there and you changed locations, um, that was my summer job while I was outside of school. It didn't work with my hours while I was in school. That's why I relocated from that position. It's good to have the reasons why you might jump around, but jumping around in general could be a red flag because either you're not diligent, have you been fired multiple times, and that's why you're not staying at places longer because you don't show up on time? Is it because you have a poor work ethic? Is it that you just aren't caring about what's going on in that business or that place? So that's why you're jumping around so much. That could be a potential red flag.